Coming up. Come up now. Can't stop me. You coming up.
Oh my God. This has been a day like, I don't know. Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh. If you are on here, y'all come on in. House of Peach is on. Morgan, you just smiling. I'm up here like about to crumble. Like, honestly, this has been a day. It started off like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then after I finished teaching class, I had a couple meetings and then it started like going downhill. And I've just been in a place. So I'm smiling, but I'm only smiling because I see you.
I know. Well, I'm smiling because I see you, but it's okay. I have enough joy for the both of us.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm sending it all your way.
Thank you. I'm receiving that. If y'all are just now joining us, we want you to share this out. Let people know that we are on. We are on YouTube. We're on House of Peach. I don't even know if it's showing up on my Facebook page, Morgan. I don't know if it's showing up on yours, but
yes, we're good.
YouTube and subscribe. We need you to subscribe to the House of Peach on YouTube. We are trying to do some things with that YouTube channel, and it only works well if we have some extra subscribers. And I have noticed over the past couple of weeks, we've had a lot more people liking the Facebook page. I've seen that. Have you seen that? Have you noticed?
Well, yes, I did. As we were instructed to go into our community and send an invite. So shout out to the folks on my Facebook page who are supporting House of Peach. And you guys, I was like, you guys are great at getting a lot of feedback. And it's nice to know that people are, going back and watching previous shows as well. And getting some good gems and stuff. So
that is good. So how has your day been?
Let's see. Well, my day, so your day started off fine. My day started off rough. I had a rescheduled therapy session early today. So that was a little rough, but we recovered. And today was actually a great score. I want to say like homeschool wise. Yesterday, Noah and I got into a groove for a bit. He decided, after he did his work that we were going to do some art. So we were looking at some post-impressionism and impressionism art. And then he did his own little rendition of all of that. And then today we needed some free movement expression. So I ended up telling them about this dance class that I took with this lady that was just like, okay, when we start the music, I want you to lead with different parts of your body. And I was like, what the heck? And she's like, yes, like lead with your elbow. Like this. Wow. Yes, it was a very intense, it was a very interesting class. So I had my boys in the middle of the kitchen, like, lead with your elbow, lead with your head.
So do you homeschool both of your boys? Or
I do, yes. Wow. So my 13-year-old, yes, he's in 7th grade. And Noah, who has decided that he wants to start now. So he's actually in kindergarten and he's doing quite well. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I don't think I have the patience for that. And plus I have so many other things going on. Like, no, I need you to go somewhere. I need you to go.
Yeah. We'll see
You're in Florida. I'm kind of concerned about the education system. That's a big concern of mine, knowing what I know. So I'm going to be on it. Like, what are you learning? What's going on to make sure that she's getting the education, and whatever she's not getting, I'm going to have to supplement that to make sure, because education is really high on the list for me. And my other kids can tell you, I don't play about those academics. I do not play.
As you should not. Well, no, I think what makes it a little easy for me is because I am also working with an online curriculum. I have a lot of teacher friends who I've had, vet a lot of, curriculums, and then, based upon suggestions, we use one of those. So I was like, I think that helps, especially when like I have a client. So, I'll be sitting at the kitchen table, Joe will be here, Noah will be here, and all three of us are kind of doing stuff. And if they need me, I'm right here. You know what I mean? They know if I'm, on a Zoom, they know how to be quiet. Joe can help Noah if necessary. I'm cool with taking breaks. Like that's the good thing about, homeschool. Like
Yeah.
it can be very relaxed. It's really on, the kids' timeline versus, a specific, like you only have 2 weeks, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I was like, so mental health wise, that was the number one thing. And then obviously right after that would be what you're learning. But those were my two major concerns. And that's where, we got to this place. And thankfully so far, it's been quite beneficial. And he's still very social. We are in a co-op, so there's other families, and it might be, growing even bigger than that. So I'm like super excited about that. But yeah, so I was like, he's, not alone or unsocialized, so to speak, a lot of taboo.
And that's amazing. Hats off to you for doing that. Hey, Jackie. So apparently it's on my YouTube page. I mean, my Facebook page, so I can see. Hey, Jackie, I see you on here.
Hey, Jackie.
Share this out. Share. All right, listen. If you guys have not subscribed to the House of Peach, why not? Why haven't you? Come on. There is the QR code right there in the screen. I'm going to need you to put your phone up to the screen, and I want to need you to scan. All right. That's right. Never miss anything. Okay. So this is what I want to do today. What we got going on here?
Hey, Casey. Oh, playing a switcheroo.
Right.
Listen, well, I mean, we're about to get a little spicy now. Okay. If you guys didn't see already, this is about to be like a super, I think, exciting show.
Oh yeah,
I'm like really, really excited.
Yes. So he said, she said today. Yeah. Oh, can you please tell them what the title is?
Drum roll, please. All right, we are talking about love languages and money. So two different things, but sometimes they kind of are one and the same, especially if your love language is like gift giving.
Or gift receiving. So my thing with that is, I understand that's how some people show, but we have to understand what each person, their love language, what they like. If I show you love by giving you gifts, I also need to show you love by what you want too. Like, this is my way to show you, but I know you like physical touch. So I'm going to give you these gifts, but I'm also going to be lovey-dovey with you. That's my 3 top love languages are physical touch, quality time, and words of affirmation.
Okay. Well, now here's the thing. What if acts of service, which is more of towards the bottom of your list, what if that is your partner's number 1? Can you give your partner the love that they need, not the love that you like to receive?
Oh, yeah, because I know it's not centered on me at that point, because it's not just about me. So I want them to know my love language and do it that way. I want to make sure that I do the same thing for them, because I don't want it to be one-sided. Not everybody understands that. Some people are one-sided. They think, oh, well, my love language is like this, and this is how I want it. But what about your partner? What do they want? That might not be theirs. So yes, I can do that. So if my partner likes acts of service, then I find the things that they like for me to do to show that I love them. It could be, I don't know, cooking, laundry. I don't know, whatever that may. That I'd let them set that. I can't.
Yeah, I was like mine. I was like, I at least know my top is acts. I know acts of service. Probably words of affirmation. Yeah, I don't know about any other ones. All the rest of them are just like,
they're like,
okay. Yeah, I was like, they all kind of just like fizzled out. It was like a very huge jump with those, and then all the rest of them, or the other 3 were just kind of all there. So yeah, I was like, that's what we're going to talk about. And then when it comes to like spending, like I know there's always a conversation about, oh, he spends more, she spends more. What exactly are you spending it on? all of these kind of, conversations that come about in relationships and, money management and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it would be fun to kind of like spruce up the conversation a little bit with special guests.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So come on in. Hey, first off, I just want to say hey to Casey. How are you? This is our fun He Said, She Said podcast. Welcome to House of Peach, and we're doing some fun stuff. Keaton, come on in too. We always love the male and female perspectives on everything. And
absolutely,
Evangelist Adams.
Hey, Evangelist Adams. Hello, Marianne. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Perfectly.
Awesome.
We have a lovely guest from the mountain time zone.
Oh, nice. We are broadening ourselves. We're enlarging our territory. I
have to say, we can make it smaller too, because I was actually born in Memphis, Tennessee. So I'm loving this vibe. I don't have an accent, but I feel like I'm Southern apart. So this is I've just been like laughing.
Yes. Great. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, Marianne.
Yeah, so my name is Marianne Stenquist. I'm a spending coach, and how that came about, I'll kind of go into that. But basically, what I do is I teach people how to become unshoppable. So basically, overcome the urge to shop. And I really noticed in my journey to end overspending, the budgeting wasn't cutting it, and I really needed active tools to stop spending before it happened. And so that's where I did a lot of soul searching, and I did a lot of like external work and research, and I found that there's a reason why we buy and nobody talks about it. And I'm like obsessed about it. I'm like, this can change lives. And so I'm just so honored to be here. I just already love you guys, and you're like forever away. But I also, it must be the day, because I also had like the day of the worst day, like 3 hours of sleep, everything's going wrong, but we're here. That's what matters. So
exactly. Well, hopefully we'll send some energy your way too. Yes. Okay, so what's
this is like the best infusion of energy. I get so pumped about this. I think the reason I couldn't sleep was not nerves. It was, I have all these ideas I like want to share. And so yeah, you won't be able to shut me up. So
hey, that's wonderful. Us from talking, I'm cool with it. We'll just sit here and yes, right, okay. Hey,
so listen, producers, I think we're gonna need to add a nice little map in here, and we're gonna start pinning states as we go through. So we get to pin which state for you, Marianne.
Utah.
I've never been
Montana last Tuesday. Like, this is great.
Oh, I love it.
Nice. We are
okay.
So then we have my friend. Can I call you my friend, Evangelist Adams? She's my mom's best friend. I'll put it like that. So she's mine. So if you're my mom's best friend, you're mine. So she's mine. So you decided to come on. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
Oh, hello. Hi, everybody. I'm Evangelist Adams. I currently live in Little Wissy, Georgia.
Little Wissy, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am a servant at heart. I love to serve. It don't matter whether you're at work, church, wherever. I love to serve, and I love Jesus.
Mm-hmm. All right. Amen.
All right.
So, Morgan, how are we going to start this? Do we want to start off with the interactive, or do we want to start with the conversation and then kind of do the game? I'm interested in the game, so I just want you.
Okay, we can totally kick this off because I'm sure it will definitely provoke a lot of conversation. So yes. I hope y'all are ready.
I'm ready. Is this something I'm going to need a pen and piece of paper for? You're ready. I got my paper.
Oh yeah, she was ready. Oh yes. See, thank God for homeschool. It's still on the kitchen.
All right, those of you that are watching, please get a pen and a pencil, a crayon, a marker. a colored pencil, whatever you want, and a piece of paper so you can play this game because you need to know. Because I'm curious. I mean, I didn't think I'm not a spender, but we'll see where I am. I'm curious to know.
Awesome. Well, do you want me to just kick it off?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So, and I'll just say I can talk about anything and everything. So just guide me where you want to go. I love interaction. So like tell me what questions are coming and I'll do my best to answer them.
All right.
So my background stems from years of overspending that budgeting just didn't help. And I just love, we were going to schedule for next month teaser. It's a really cool, like the blame game, but like they were like, let's try this week and let's talk about the 5 love languages. And I was so intrigued because I love getting different perspectives and applying them to what I teach. And this was so fascinating. I've actually never like read the 5 love languages. I know my love language, but I've never read in depth. And so this was so fascinating. So I just want to make some connections. Almost everyone is familiar with the idea of love languages. It's very complicated to understand like relationships as a whole. But Gary Chapman did a great job of identifying the 5 types. And he says, you don't have to understand everything about love and relationships, but you need to start with one area. And it's what your affirmation, or excuse me, what your love language is, what your partner's is. Now, he comes from the perspective of understand your partner's first and then understand yours. And I thought it was interesting as we're talking, I've noticed in my life, and I'd be curious in the chat, that I love the way that I want to be loved. So I give lots of like words of affirmation to my husband because I'm a words of affirmation girl. That's my love language. And he is physical touch and he's also like quality time. And so and he loves me that way. And so I loved what I think it was April was saying, like, if that's what he needs, I'll give it to him. You know, that it's not 50-50, it's 100-100 with like a marriage, a significant other, a friend. It's 100-100, and you have to really care for them to care for you. It's just like it's a give and take. And so I love that what was already been shared about that. And so I thought about that for a while and I was like, we love the way we want to be loved, but we also spend the way we want to be fulfilled with our money. And so there's very, very close ties with like the idea that there's different types of love languages, how we like to be loved. There's what I've created is the 6 spending types, and there's 6 different of love languages, how we like to be loved. I think I'm getting feedback.
Yeah.
No, that was me. That was me.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, it's
Trying
all
to do
good.
too many things at once.
It's all good. I didn't want to keep talking and have it be all jumbled. So no worries. Yeah. So I created what I call the 6 spending types, and they're basically 6 triggers why we spend. And they're divided into 6 categories. And technically everyone's one of this, like almost all the 6. But there's one primary one. Just like you have one primary love language, there's one primary spending type. That's your biggest trigger to spend. And then that's how I created the spending types quiz. It helps identify what your spending type is, what triggers you to buy the most frequent. And so the way I kind of came about this is I felt like spending was a need. Everyone says, oh, it's wants and needs. It wants and needs. And it's like, no, spending's a need for me. And to be honest, if you're a spender like me, it's like anything can be a need. Any want can be a need. You can justify just about anything. And so I was like, why does it feel like such a need for me? And I mean, I don't know how many of you here, like in the audience, are spenders? Like I am.
I definitely am. I'm an emotional spender.
That's mine. Yep, that's mine. And an emotional eater. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm the food person, so I was right there with you with the food.
Yep. Yeah. So I noticed that it just felt like a need. and I tried budgeting, and whenever you say I struggle with spending, the advice you always get is, well, just stop spending or just make a budget. And it's like, well, that didn't work. And so I was like, okay. And not to mention, like, especially with dieting and budgeting, those are two things that we do not want to do ever. And because they're restrictive and they're not fun, they're not freeing. And so it's like, I was like, not only no, but hell no, I'm not gonna guilt myself into fixing my spending something that I enjoy. Like, I'm not gonna restrict myself. So I was like totally anti-budget. Now, there's a time and place for a budget, but I personally needed to go the spending route and look at spending. So I'm a spending coach. I don't work with budgets. I kind of teach the general principles because a budget is needed, but I address from the spending avenue, because what happened with me is I started looking at what I was spending my money on, and I saw, holy cow, I was spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars just unintentionally without planning. And here I'm sitting here like, oh, it'd be nice to go on a trip, but we can't afford it. Oh, it'd be nice to go on weekly date nights. We can't afford it. And yet I was spending 10 times that on just frivolous spending. And so that to me was empowering. It was like, oh my gosh, I have so much money to work with if I just redirect it. And so that's where I got inspired to really change my spending. I didn't want to be guilted into it. And we are shamed, especially as women, we're shamed into, you should. And I've done therapy. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. And my therapist said, don't should on yourself. Stop shoulding on yourself. Like, I should do this. I should do this. Like, it's so much more empowering to want to do something. That power is so much greater than feeling guilted into doing something. And so that's kind of the backstory of how I got started. And I'd love to hear like thoughts and discussion, because I can keep talking, but I want to make this interactive. So any questions or
Evangelist Adams, do you have any input on that?
I might be one of the only women that don't like to shop.
that's all right. Represent.
I don't. I don't. My daughter, I'll wear the same clothes over and over. She said, Mom, I need to buy you some new clothes. So, hey. But when it comes to spending, what are your six types of spending that you talked about?
So I'll go into them, but I'm actually curious. You love to serve, and it sounds
Yes.
like you're a giver. So any spending you do
Yes.
probably is gifts for someone else, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So you're
Everything
actually
church.
and a church. Yes, I love that. I love that. So I would guess that you're a necessity spender. Now, the necessity spender spends most of their money on things that are needed for the household, family, and close friends. And they are needs. And you're very strict on, this is a need and this is a want, and I only get needs. And so you have a very clear idea of like what's a need and what's a want. And I'll say with all of these spending types, there's pros and cons with each, because you're as a saver, not a spender, you're frugal, you're mindful about your spending. Those are good things. But what can happen is if it's not in balance, you can sometimes, and I don't know if this is true for you, there's different types of necessity spenders. You can go through like you purge and splurge. So like you don't spend any money at all, and then it's like, okay, I haven't spent money in a long time, I'm going to spend on myself, and you splurge. So that's one type. Or there's the type that's like, I am just simply not going to spend money. And there's a difference between not spending money and saving. They're actually different.
Mhm.
So
It is.
what do you resonate with?
I would rather not with. I don't do spit. What do you call it thing? What did you just say? The last word you said? I
Um,
don't
like,
frugal spending. I don't
uh-huh.
do that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you prefer, if you had the choice to spend on a need or to save that money, what would you do?
I would
For
prefer to save it due
Mhm.
to the fact that I'm just now learning how, after taking a budgeting class through my church, or how that I have to have an emergency fund and a savings account. So
Yep.
I set a goal to have at least 3 times my mortgage in my emergency fund. So I can't be spending here, there, and there, eating out, and I've not met my goal in my emergency fund or in my savings.
Yeah. So I love that that's your goal. So a really good action tip, and this applies to all spending types, but it's really important to see progress. As an
Mm-hmm,
essential spender, you're more inclined to not spend, but you still need to see progress. So when you
mm-hmm,
actively decide, I'm not spending this money on this want, you need to
mm-hmm,
put that money physically or write it down. You need to put it somewhere towards your mortgage and watch that grow.
mm-hmm,
Otherwise, you're going to get demotivated and it's going to be like, well, what am I working for? I'm so far behind. A lot of the times what happens, especially since everything is digital, the money just gets lost in checking and we don't see where it went. And so it's like, well, why am I saving this money? I could have just spent it. Yeah, it's so easily to just go back to old habits,
mm-hmm,
seeing the progress.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where I would start, and it sounds like you're on the right path, like, you've got a great goal, that's a huge thing is having an emergency fund. Our emergency fund, we had 5 months, and it has got us through 2 years of just everything going wrong, so I am a huge proponent of emergency funds, so I love that that's your goal, and you can put that unintentional spending towards something intentional.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
where the money comes, so, yeah,
Well,
I
Only takes $5.
Yep. It adds up. Absolutely
Yep.
for you.
well, I have a question
Mhm.
because I'm that person that I don't spend like I don't spend. I do things for the house. But after a while, if I'm out, say on the weekend, I'm like, well, I haven't bought myself anything. And I just got like this because I never would buy anything for myself. I think I got that from my dad because my dad worked so hard to make sure that my brothers and I were taken care of in the house and all of that. Like he never did anything for himself. And I fell into that mode of making sure I did for my kids and the house and making sure the bills are paid in this. And then now I'm at the point where every now and then, if I'm out and I see something I like and I want it, I buy it. It's that, but I don't go overboard. So it's not like I go out, I'm spending $200, $300. I don't even spend $100. It could be maybe 50, if that much. So
Yeah.
is that how does that fall into this?
Yeah. You sound, and I'll just base on what I know about the spending types, based on what you've described. The quiz would be the best way to do it, but you sound like a saving spender. So it sounds kind of contradictory, but
Yes.
basically we're all savers and we're all spenders at different times, but a saving spender, they go through periods of saving, like save, 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 and then intense periods of spend, spend, spend. And then
Mm,
it's cyclical. So like you said, on weekends, and you may not be a big spender. So I mean
right.
that it's very unique for each person. But it
Mhm.
sounds like that phrase you said of, I haven't spent on myself. I deserve this. I've been really good. And so, and again, pros and cons with that. Like there's nothing wrong with treating yourself. It's just having that balance. So for saving spenders,
Mhm.
I always recommend automating what you can so that you're always putting aside money for saving and you're always putting aside money for spending, so that when you do, if you, let's say you do have that like weak moment, you want to plan for your worst
Right.
moment, weakest moment, you have that money. So if it's like, let's say you do spend $300, it's not like it's coming out of your savings or something that wasn't, originally planned.
Okay. Oh my God. I need this game. I need this quiz. I need it. Jackie she said her budget went out the window after a month and she finds herself spending money on things for the house. She says she's not much of a clothes person.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone, see, I'm
That's a
closing
necessary
accessories.
spender.
That's my kryptonite. This office, oh gosh, it was full of just all sorts of clothes and purses. It started with purses and I just went hog wild. So, and that's why, like, I'm very honest and open about, I am not like perfect at becoming unshoppable. I'm still working. Like a couple days ago, it's been a very trying. We had a close friend die. I'm an emotional spender. I've had a lot of really complex health issues. And I just like, I spent $300. That's the most I've spent in one sitting in one day. I'm like a Ross TJ Maxx shopper. So like I don't spend more than $100, but the total adds up if you go to multiple stores. And so if I would have spent $300 at Ross, I'd be like, whoa, red flag, you're going overboard. But the little $50 here, $20 here, that's what got me. But this just happened 2 days ago. And it's because I realized, and I had to coach myself through it, just like I coach my clients. It's like I realized I didn't guilt myself into what happened. I just looked back and I said, what triggered that urge? And it was, I hadn't processed the death of this neighbor that we're really close to. And I had a lot of I have a lot of health mysteries we don't really know, and I'm waiting on the results. And so it was just a lot of unprocessed emotions. And I had this need, I find fulfillment, and this might speak to the need to buy things for the house. I find I'm not really a trinket buyer for the house and design buyer, but I like to make things very efficient in my house. And I found this site Temu, I think it's Shein. You're laughing.
Don't fall into that trap.
I know, I was just about to see that.
I literally had my son send me a link before we started. It's all good.
Oh wow.
I caved. I wasn't gonna do it. I was like, I know this is not gonna be good for me. Guess what? I didn't plan for my weakest moment, and I gave in. $300 later, I'm sitting there justifying, because $200 of them were things that I've been wanting for. We've been in this house for 7 years, and I have not made it a home. It's just been we've just been living. We just making do. And it's no, I want an organizer for the court. And it's only $1. It's only this. That's how they get you. And then they have you spin the wheel. Oh gosh. So yeah. They know you. So if you're, I shouldn't have even said the name.
Everybody knows about Temu. We've all gotten it. Now, my daughter got me introduced to Shein. So we were in New Jersey, and she, every other week, was getting this huge box that will be loaded with stuff. And I'm like, Zuri, what is this? Where are you getting this? She said Shein, and I'm looking at it. I was like, oh, this is nice. Let me look this. Man, yep. Full closet later. It's where all this stuff come from? She got me. And then when a friend of mine sent me the link that they, you get the 6 free items or something. You send somebody the link, and I fell into the trap. Wow, this is cool. Look at all this stuff I got. And then here I am.
I know. Oh, now that you say that, so I'm I used to be. I wanted to be an English major, and then I switched into the medical field, speech pathologist. And then because of my health issues, I, struggled with overspending, and I kind of found my passion. But I was just gonna say, I have a passion for play on words, and marketers are really good. They know why we buy better than we do. And I was thinking, Shein. They were probably oh, she in our system. Got her number. Oh.
That's good.
I never even thought about that, but you're absolutely right. Because listen, when that Costa Rica trip came up, and I was like, ooh, okay, we need some stuff. And we never went on a honeymoon. So it was why not splurge and get matching bathing suits and the whole 9 yards? And we came away for a whole week's worth of, bathing suits and outfits for $100.
I know. Yep.
I think out like bandits.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I know. Well, I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is make sure that you have the item in mind of what you're looking for. Do not let the site guide you to what you need. It's it's a
trap, because before you know it, there's $400 worth of stuff in your car. Oh, that looks nice. We put that in there. Yeah.
But you gotta set. For me, I have a $50 card that I only use with Temu. And if I don't have anything on that card, there's no shopping at Temu for me.
Oh my goodness.
That's this
You need
one
to be
right
our
there.
poster child. You need
Listen, you gotta listen. Just one time, you gotta up it so you could get the juicer though, because the juicer is like
No, ma'am.
$5.
No, ma'am. I'm good. I'm good.
love it.
I don't
Love
juice.
it. No, none of that.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Well, can we do this quiz? Let me see where I am. I need to put myself
Do
together.
this. Let's do this. Before we do the quiz, I just wanted to address the comment. It's not clothing, it's home goods.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it doesn't really matter what your kryptonite, what your spending flavor is.
You
It's
spend it.
do you find joy and is it in balance? That's kind of where this
Mhm.
is. Like if you're even if this quiz is for everyone, but it's really for people that they want to change their spending because you're not in balance. And so yeah, let's go for it. Let's do the quiz. So do we want to just have everyone like take it? It's like
Yeah.
it'll take you just a few minutes to complete.
Yeah.
And then you'll get an email and so you'll take the quiz. It's 10 questions. You'll input your email. It will send you the results to that email you put in, and then it'll just say what your quiz result is and just a little brief bio. But why don't, for time's sake, let's just have everyone put take the quiz, and then we'll go through each spending type, and then I'll just go through, what they are, because we only talked about 2. So let's do this.
All right.
I'm excited.
So we just go on your website?
Mhm.
Okay.
See, isn't money fun?
Money makes
You'll see after I finish this
you-
quiz just how fun it is. So y'all, please, those of you that are watching, the link there is on the website is on the screen, moneymakeunder.com. Go on there. There is a quiz. So you want to learn what type of spender you are. Let's see. So Morgan and I and Evangelist Adams going to take this. Oh, I'm so nervous.
No, don't be nervous. I'll say a little
I'm
like
super excited because it's so funny. Like I can't wait to you talk spending types and I'm gonna talk like food type. Okay, because that's definitely it. And I'm sure that y'all can fill in on the love type, because all of these I was like, so we can draw in these love languages, because I'm sure they, like you said, they all tie in together.
Yeah. I'll say no guilt because I'm all of them, so I can't judge. So no guilt, no shame.
I keep seeing budget. I just can't get that budget thing down pat. I can't.
That's okay. That's why
I like this one.
my approach.
This question says, "What's for lunch?" and it says, "I eat at the places I have a coupon for."
Take your lunch.
Say what?
Take your lunch.
All right. That's Ariel's like, what are we having for dinner? What's in the refrigerator? Go check and see. That's what you're eating. But there's only bread. Well, eat the bread.
Yeah, listen, my mom was famous for an air sandwich.
Come on,
air sandwich.
You said an air sandwich.
Yeah, that's what my mom used to say. She was like, "Yeah, go ahead, put those 2 pieces together and eat it." Air sandwich. She was not joking.
My daughter is cutting up her blanket as I'm taking this, like literally cutting her blanket up. Oh my God.
Oh no.
That's okay. Listen, maybe she's going to cut it back together.
Like scissors, and I look at her, she's cutting the blanket up. Oh,
it's okay. Go ahead and give her a needle and thread, and she can whatever she's about to do with it.
Maybe her love language is like physical touch. She needs to touch things.
Okay. Well, maybe that's why she's always laying on me, and I'm like, why? Like, I love you, girl. Back up. Oh my goodness. Oh.
See, this eating out is really hard because I'm just a food critic. So like I don't eat out because I don't really like a lot of people's food. Is that an answer?
You can be picky about your food. Those are your calories. They're precious.
Yeah, exactly. And then I get real mad after you eat and
Yep.
not satisfied.
Not that I know. I know it. And I will say with these, if you're struggling between one or two or all of them, just go with like your gut and the one that you do most often. And then you can always take the quiz again and see like your second type and third. Cause like we all have a primary and then we have like a secondary usually.
Mm. Mm. Oh my. Yeah, this will probably work for me. This question says, when you look around at the stuff you have bought, you see one of the options says stuff and no idea where all my money went. I know there are people that would choose that one. That's not me. Says, did I really buy that? I don't even like it. No, I'm not buying. I'm not doing that. Oh wow. No self-control. These choices are hilarious.
And hey, they're all pre-approved through me and my habits. So again, no judgment.
And the funny thing is, there are people that are like this. Like this one, I have no self-control. I see something, I buy it. I want to have more control. Like I'm not that way. I have some control. I know how to say no, but
But I like the take that you're having because like I don't want this can be like a hard part. This is the first step of just identifying. And I like your attitude of just like this is so funny. Like, oh my gosh, I have no self-control. Like that is a much better approach than like, oh my gosh, I have no self-control.
yeah. Then you get down and then you get into the emotional, I need to go buy something because
exactly.
stops. Like get off the hamster wheel. All right, let's see.
Biting your lip, like
This one says money is there to buy needs, wants are a luxury. Ooh, that's harsh.
I know. There's some harsh truths here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I kind of have to get I had to get more specific and more kind of mean as it gone in because it's like you really have to narrow down like because there's spending types that are very similar. And so yeah, pick the one that even if it's harsh, be honest.
Oh my goodness. Smack says she's a necessity spender. Okay, let me see what I am. I'm done. Let me add this in. See what it says. What do you say about me? Who am I? Who am I?
Who am I?
Let's see.
Yeah. That one. Okay, one left.
All right.
Just so you know, the last question needs to be an option of I spend most of my money on business stuff. And you as an excuse, because that is me.
Oh my gosh. I am so glad you said that. Guess what I have? Because I became an entrepreneur, because of this whole overspending passion and becoming a spending coach, I created a business buying types quiz because I found that entrepreneurs are more likely to spend more on their business because the stakes are higher and it's like a greater rate of return. You have like the higher chance of it working. So it's like, this is a need. I got to have security. So I got you. Got you
I
covered.
am a necessity
Oh, but I'm waiting.
spender.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of funny as you were going through that. You were like, no, that's not me. I'm controlled. I'm like, I don't think you're as, and especially where it was saving spender, it's like, it's not like $50 over the weekend. It's like you go through a sustained like week, 2 week, or even a month, and it's cyclical. They just repeat. So yeah, the more and I'm glad you took that, because like just talking with you briefly, there's like little catchphrases that I'm like, ooh, that sounds like this type, but the quiz really gets into detail. So it sounds like
Well.
so yeah, well.
I am a bargain spender.
Okay. So we covered. Oh, and go ahead and chat. Well, why don't we do this? I'd love to hear like other. I'll just go through all of them. So we talked about the necessity spender.
Oh, Jacqueline's the saver spender.
Okay. All right. Saver
She's the
spender.
saver spender. Okay, as you are taking this quiz, please in the chat of wherever you are tuning in from, because we'll get them. Put what your results were so we can discuss it. So Jacqueline is the saver spender. I'm a necessity spender, and so is Smack. And you're what, Morgan? The bargain spender?
I am a bargain spender. Casey said she is an emotional spender. Listen, Casey, I'm right there with you. I honestly thought that I was an emotional spender as well. But I can't lie, I definitely saw this trail mix when I was in Lidl yesterday, and my son like ate the whole thing, and it was on sale 2 for $8, and they normally are like 7 a pop. So I was like, I really should be getting this money right now, but it's 2 for $8, so I'm about to get this because you don't have to money for a while.
Yep. Trail mix, isn't trail mix good for you? So
that's exactly. I said,
oh my gosh, I love this
trail mix over the potato chips. So
I love this.
So that's not bad. Come on, Marianne. That's gotta be good.
No, I love this. That's such a good discussion. Okay, so like take your types, for example. So it's like the necessity spender. You saw things like trail mix, that's a need. I mean, it's better than potato chips. Now, I'm not coming across harsh. Like I'm all of these. Okay. So I'm not like coming down with a hammer. I'm just saying like to just explain like the viewpoint of each spending type is very unique. So like the trail mix, that's a need. It's going to be eaten. But the bargain spender, it's not on a need. It's you may need the item, like you probably needed trail mix, but it's the bargain. It's the price.
No, I didn't really need trail mix.
Okay, all right.
It was just what you said. It was the price. I was like, I know what trail mix normally goes for in here, and so
more reason to
like,
get it for
I'm not gonna
me.
get 1, not 2, but 5.
I tried. I can't. I stood in that aisle for about 4 or 5 minutes, and I had to talk myself into only doing the 2 for $8, and because I was definitely gonna, So yeah,
yep.
And I'm a sucker for a bargain, but that's how it works. Also, like for my business, for me to get a lot of things, so it's like I kind of just carry that into personal spending, as well. I will go to a place. I mean, quality matters for me as well, though. So, like, although I'm getting a bargain, I'm not going to do like cheap and bargain. It needs to be very good quality and on sale, because I don't do cheap at all. So I was like, there's stipulations, there's some boundaries in this.
Absolutely. And there's a wide range. It's like not everyone is gonna just like take the cheapest option. I mean, there's the wide range of what a bargain is to everyone, but the focus is on how much you save, not how much you spend. And so that's the big difference with the bargain spender. So
Evangelist Adams, what are you?
A necessity.
You called it. You called it. Hey, Brittany, thanks for joining us.
Yep, through and through. So we touched a little bit on the emotional spender. That's my primary one. So the emotional spender, they spend most of their money during times of heightened emotion. Now, this is usually negative emotions, but it can also be positive emotions. Like, I just got a raise at work. I'm going to reward myself. I deserve this. Or I've had a horrible day. I deserve this. And it can be big purchases. It can be things you love around the house, but it can also be like, I deserve a candy bar at the grocery store. I deserve this. I need this. I want this. It can be small and large purchases. It doesn't have to be big. So that's the biggest difference with the emotional spender. And then the impulsive spender, all of us have a little bit of tendencies with impulsivity with each spending type, but the impulsive spender, most of their purchases are made without being planned for in advance. So they walk in with they probably don't have a list. They may have a list. They walk in and it's the item that determines I'm going to buy this. And for them, it's a real fear that if I don't buy this now, I'm going to miss out on either the good deal or I'm going to miss out on like this unique characteristic of this item. Or maybe it's scarce. Maybe there's only one left. And you're like, if I don't get this, it's going to be gone and I won't have it if I need it. And so you buy it and it's almost like I'll just buy it and I'll return it if I don't need it. And I found myself doing that. And it's like, why am I buying things when I'm literally thinking like, oh, I can just return it if I don't need it? Well, then should you be buying
Well,
it?
buy it.
Yeah.
So, yep. So that's the impulsive spender. And then the passive spender, the passive spender is not actively aware of the use of their money. And it's not that they're like lazy. It's not that they're like passively spending because they don't care. It's because money isn't motivating for them. And so if they have money and then they have the item is more important to them than the money. And so they will always just buy the item. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's a bargain, if it's a necessity, if it's an emotional purchase. So they're kind of all across the board on like what they buy, but it's really just because money isn't very motivating for them. So they're always going to buy that thing to fill that need to fit in or whatever they're wanting at the time.
Wow.
And then the last one is savings spender. We had someone chime in that they're the savings spender. Now I kind of talked with this already, but again, we're all savers, we're all spenders, but the savings spender is very cyclical. And so what I mean by that is like if you put it on a graph, it's like I'm spending, and then I'm saving. And so it goes like in an up down pattern. There's not really a middle ground. So it usually what triggers the change is not necessarily the time, it's the guilt of, oh my gosh, I spent so much money, I need to save. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I've been saving for so long, I deserve to splurge. And then the splurge lasts for a long time. So that's kind of the biggest difference. It's cyclical. You can track it on a graph, like a line graph.
It's kind of like binge eating a little bit, you know.
Yes,
and it's just like,
once you pop, the fun don't stop.
Exactly. And then you're sitting here and it's like 20 pounds later. And you're like, yeah, exactly. So,
so I'm interested to see how this is all going to tie in with our love languages.
I know. I was going to say that. I was like, I've gone off on a totally tangent, but I will tie it back into the love languages. So I'm glad you kind of like brought that back up again. So with the love language, I love what he said. He said, when you cannot get your need for love met, you throw tantrums or you go somewhere else. Those are his words, not mine. And I thought that is so interesting. And so that happens with love. If we're not getting it from the person we love or a relationship, we'll go somewhere else to get it. With spending, this applies to spending even more so than love, because with relationships, there's like that obligation, that tie to the person. But with spending, it's like, I'm not getting my needs met, so I'm going to get it somewhere else. And we can get our needs met with spending so quickly. We don't have to get in the car anymore. We can be in our PJs, scrolling, getting anything sent to our door. You know, there's no barriers. Whereas with love, like there's barriers. And so it's very difficult to control spending because it's just so accessible. And so the thing that I liked the most about the love languages is his approach is very similar to mine, in that he understands that love is complex and it's impossible to understand every intricate detail about love and relationships. So he says, choose the one for your partner, because it's the two-way. It's give 100% for both people. And that you choose the one for your partner. Now, the difference with mine is I do it for you, because it's very difficult to say to your partner or someone, you need to fix your spending. That gets really, and that we'll talk about that next month with the blame game. That turns really quickly into blame game, and it's really sticky. So the best way is to like to control your own and kind of lead by example, and then kind of like ease the other person into it. So, but the thing that I loved again with the love languages is you pick one area to focus on and you stick with that. And that's why I created the spending types quiz. Is it's so overwhelming when you're like, I've got to fix my spending. Well, where do I start? I have no idea. And so your spending type really helps you identify. I mean, when you got that I hate calling it a label, but when you learn your spending type, it's like you automatically think, ooh, that trail mix,
Mhm.
ooh, those house needs, ooh, those purses. You know what you're buying. You already know.
Mhm.
So it's really just guiding you to what you're doing without really thinking. And then you're going to focus on that. And so my course kind of walks you through that. Is the quiz is the first step. And I do free coaching, free trainings just to help guide you because it's very unique. It's not a one size fits all. And I want it to be tailored for you. And so I do the free coaching, but the course walks you through all the steps from, overspending to becoming unshoppable. So, and that I just really think, especially again, tying with the love languages, is our, I think the biggest cause of divorce is money.
Money.
And so if we're
Mhm.
wanting to save our relationships, we've got to fix our spending. It's just
Yeah.
in hand.
Hey, that was for me, and I don't mind being transparent because I that's what I do. That was one of the major things that
Mhm.
ended my marriage was money. It was, yeah, hands
Yep.
Well,
down.
it definitely is a big conversation. I know, like you said, there's no cookie cutter when it comes to households. There's constantly, even, today, the newsfeed, a conversation about, a woman being told by her father that, the guy that she was going to marry wasn't a provider if he asked her to go 50-50 from now until the
Mhm.
wedding. He was, they had bought a house the whole 9 years, so he was paying all the bills, but then he was also paying for their $75,000 wedding. And
No.
so he was like, listen, this is a little tight right now. Can you handle some of this? Mind you, she's making 85K, which she can spend however she wants to.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, well, what exactly should I do? You know what I mean? I thank God he didn't walk down the aisle type of
Yeah.
situation. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Then you also have, the other end of things where like, there's a lot of households where like one person decides to start the business and then the other one keeps a traditional job just to be able to, hold things on. And even in that, trying to find the balance, myself just having the conversation the other day. And it's like, that's very hard to work on. And at no point in time have I ever been like, I'm expecting my husband to pay all the bills. I'm not that type of person. Like that's just not who I am. I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong way to that. That's just not who I am. But I also know that the time and the work that I'm putting into my business right now, I need some grace in that as far as whatever my financial contribution might be to the house. If there's something that, we might need to discuss or, switch around, whatever, like there needs to be that conversation. But even then, like those conversations, like you said, around money, it gets really, really tight.
Yeah.
And then here we go. It starts infiltrating all the other love languages, whether
But
it's communication, whether it's acts of service, whether it's physical touch. Because if the money is tight and everybody funny, who's doing anything in bed? Probably not.
Right. Well, and you brought up a really good point with that. Like they're very interrelated. And I love the approach that he talks about in the book, that my approach is focus on your spending first, but where the love language can be infused into that is you need to still be focused on the other person. So the reason we all spend and overspend, especially, is because needs are not being met. That is there is a need that is not being met. And so you need to understand from a loving and compassionate, service-oriented way, say, I've I've noticed you're spending, but you need to start figuring out, like, are their love needs being met? Be very, that's easier to talk about than money. And so you need to start there. And then it's like, okay, well, what do you want? What do you want for our relationship? What do you want with our love? And then it's easier. You connect on that emotional level. And then you can say, well, what do you want for our future together? What do we want for our finances? What is success to you? Because success to me is very different than my husband. And I didn't know that. And so we've really had to learn together. He's not a natural spender. I am. And we've had to have a lot of like hard conversations. And it took me being like, I want to be the one coming to him and saying, and that happened 2 days ago, was stupid to move. I said, I'm just going to be totally transparent, because every other conversation has been him saying, and he is the most amazing man. I'm so blessed. And I hope that everyone has a relationship where they feel safe and to talk about that, and there's not abuse or control or anything like that. If there is that, please seek like counseling, marriage counseling, to discuss these issues, because I don't deal with that. I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. It was awful. And I feel for you in that situation. So don't feel like you have to do it alone if you're not feeling safe. But I just said, I'm just gonna, he would come to me and say, like, we really need to fix our spending, instead of, you need to get your act together. So he's very kind. And I look back on that and just appreciate that so much, because if he would have come out guns blazing, being like, look at how much you're spending, my gosh, like it would have gone the totally opposite way. I would have spent more, and it wouldn't have resulted in a positive change, and it would have affected our relationship and our love languages. The communication would have stopped, like,
Absolutely.
really fast.
Right.
And
So,
the touch would have been gone.
so I have a question. So, if you're married, before you start a business, wouldn't you sit down and have that conversation with your husband?
Yeah.
Okay, honey, I'm thinking about doing this. This is what my finances will be going. This is where I need you to help out with.
Yeah.
Isn't that the communication? You get that at first before you jump into it?
Yes. And that's a very good question. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I've seen kind of some toxic ideas that I understand the idea behind it, but I'm fortunate that my husband is very supportive of my business. He's been that from the get-go. He has passions. I have passions. Mine just happen to be business oriented. He has passions with creativity, with writing books. And so we both very much support the other one. So that's where it comes down to, is make sure you're supporting them the way they need to be supported, and it will be much easier for them to support you. But
Mhm.
the toxicity I've seen with especially women starting businesses, for men, it's not as like this taboo. It's like, oh yeah, it's just, you're the provider. But women, it's like, well, I'm going to do this, it's for our family, but then which is like a very service oriented thing, but it can easily turn into, well, my husband's not on my side, and then, like, damn him, screw him, I forget him, like, this is my passion in business. That gets really tricky. So what I would recommend in that situation is, well, like you said before, like saying, I have this idea, here's my plan, and you need to have a timeline. You need to say, like, I'm going to
Mhm.
try it for 6 months, I'm going to try it for a
Mhm.
year. And if I don't get progress, at least see any progress, then, like, this is where we're going to cut off. And then where the money part comes into that, because I was very fortunate that I realized very early on that my business was not making money, and so I didn't feel okay spending money on a business that wasn't making money. Now that's
Yeah,
not
that's
always the
good.
case with businesses.
Mhm. That's
And
good.
so you just need to, and I'm not like an investor or anything like that, but my own business coach said, you need to assess the risk and see if it's a risk that you're willing and able to take. So you
Count up
need to
the
say,
costs.
yeah, yep, you need to say, what time am I willing to invest in this? Because it's going to take
Mhm.
time away from your family, your loved ones, and
Mhm.
what money am I willing to invest, so that if it goes wrong, you'll say, well, we assessed it, we knew this was a possibility, and we were willing at the time to do that. And so it's going to hurt,
Mhm.
but we
Mhm.
were willing we were able to, we didn't lose the house, we didn't lose everything. And then the other thing my my business coach says that I'll just pass on, Faith Mariah, she's amazing. She's all about mindset, but she says, make sure that you realize that it's always going to take twice as long, cost twice as much, be twice as hard as you think it is. Because not, you see all these success stories on business. Mine's taken 4 years to really refine my message. So it does take time, but you just need to have that conversation before. So it's not like I'm doing this on my own and you're just trailing along for the ride. Like it has to be a joint venture.
So 2 things stuck out to me from that. Was
also one thing.
Communication and having a plan. Those 2 things. Communicating and having a plan. So if either one comes to the other one and says that, like you said, write it down, have it out. Because I know if it's a woman a wife or a woman going to the man, then men deal with specifics and they have to. It's cookie cutter, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you have that laid out, it'll make it easier for them to understand. Maybe a little cushion there.
Just one other thing. One other thing that my pastor taught us, that you have to have a budget meeting every month. Sit down, go over what you have planned, all the bills on the table. If you meet every month, then when your business start going downward, you'll know that it's going downward. But if you never meet to discuss it, then you don't know. So you want to meet at least once a month to go over your budget.
That's such a good point, because I don't focus on budget specifically. I focus on spending. But what happened is I was so anti-budget that I was like, I'm going to focus on my spending and it'll fix everything. What ended up happening is I focused on my one area of emotional spending and the rest of my finances, because I was restricting myself. The rest of my finances got out of control because I kind of went for cheap and left the other 99 to just wander. So you have to have a system set up. So we use American Credit Union, and we use a debit card, and you can track. It's like an auto tracker, and it gives trends. So I highly recommend. Most banks have it online. If you're a credit card person, credit cards are tricky because it's like out of sight, out of mind. But at least keep your statements, open them, and just start highlighting. That's the first step I recommend, is start highlighting those unintentional purchases.
What did you say it was that you said you used the card that had the trends?
Sorry. It's America First Credit Union, but there's actually a card. Oh, and I can't even think of the name. There's a
Most
card.
banks has it now.
What was that?
Most banks and credit card has it where they track your spending.
Yeah. They do. So I would check first with your credit union or bank. They most likely have one. If you're a credit card person, then keep your credit card statements. But there's actually a card, because a lot of the reason for credit card use is you want to get your credit, you want to build your credit, and that is a need. You need it. But for overspenders, it's tricky. There's a card that acts as a debit card, but gives you points towards your credit. And that's like the perfect solution for us overspenders. I wish I would have known about it. And I can't think of the name right off the top of my head. I'll send it out in the chat or something.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, I'll make sure on our House of Peach page, say that 10 times fast, in the comment section. We'll put that link in there for you guys. This has been like super good for like information. I'm definitely look at spending different. Like I said, I am a food person. So, I look at what makes you eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we can tackle a lot of things if, like you said, we get down to the nitty gritty of certain things. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, we can all say we're an emotional eater, but like you said, what exactly is the emotion, or what exactly is the thing that's making you eat? I know I can be emotional and angry, and guess what? I'm not eating nothing.
Oh, really? That's when I just binge.
No, I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm sad. I eat when I'm
any heightened emotion. Yeah.
And it's really funny because I'm like getting even more into food science. Like if you crave crunchy foods, that's literally letting you know that there is like an anxiety pull going on right now. So you can tell by the things that you start to crave what exactly is going on. So if you can take the time to be able to identify the feeling or the emotion that's going on for that quick second and then be able to deal with that, it's funny, you'll actually find that the craving goes away.
Right. Yeah. I love
Minus the
that.
fact that, if I mean, that's if your cupboard isn't full with the, things that have additives that are constantly making you want, like they literally make food that makes you addicted. Like, so,
Who
those
who said
I think that's a
what
little
about
hard.
wanting seafood all the time? Now, see, I'm sarcastic and funny, like that's my default. And I heard, what about the seafood diet? I see food and I eat it. My
Yeah,
type of diet. So I'm not sure about seafood, what that means.
absolutely. Wanting seafood all the time. I will have to look that back up. I was like, I'll make sure I get you that information as well. But I was like, a lot of the time it ends up being a deficiency of some sort or something that your body ends up needing. So that's something that you have to look into. You find a lot of people who are crunching on ice, iron. Let's look into that. Iron actually ends up being a deficiency, ends up being diagnosed, misdiagnosed for like depression.
Yep.
So and sometimes I just go
And
like,
that's
wow.
like perfect what you said about this. It's like the science of eating. There's the science of spending. That's actually what I call it, because it ties back to our emotions, and we are feeling an emotion. An emotion is triggered in our brain because a need is not being met. It just happens. We don't identify the emotion. We just feel like we just have a feeling and we're like, I want to get rid of it. And
Right.
so we don't think what happened to cause that. We just think I want to get rid of it. And so we do what gets rid of it. We eat, we go spend, we drink, whatever it is. And so there really is a science behind when you're spending, it's because you're deficient in something. And so my job as a spending coach is to help you track your current spending on. We're not looking at past mistakes. We're looking at from here on, and we're looking at a spending event. You track your unintentional purchases and unplanned purchases. And then we look at like what led to that, what led you to the store, what led you to that aisle, what we're really dissecting the event so that you can stop spending before it happens. And that really is where it starts. So that's a whole other thing for another time, but just start
That's wonderful.
being mindful and being like aware of like what you're feeling. So that was
Yeah, you got to get to the root of a problem in order to be able to solve it. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Anything surface level. Sorry.
yeah, stop
Yeah.
putting
It's all
band-aids.
about
Like
the
let's
root.
fix this. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Look at the time.
I know.
Holy
It goes by so fast.
It really does.
Y'all have not subscribed to the House of Peach. You see from tonight that we are not playing any games in 2024. We have the best of the best guests coming on and sharing with us, and we have had fun. If you were not able to take the quiz yet, the link there is on the screen, moneymakeunder.com. Go on there and find out what your spending type is. And Marianne, can you please tell our viewers how they can get in contact with you so they can for anything that they may have a question on?
Absolutely. So the best way to get in contact with me, I am very active on Facebook. I have a free community. It's the Money Make Under community. The email that you get with your quiz result, it will have a link in that email, and then you'll get a second email and a third email that kind of like tells you a little bit more about the spending type and what my mission as a spending coach. It'll have links to my Facebook group. That is totally free. Please come join. It's a shame-free fun. I want you to feel like you're not alone, because you're not. You are not alone, and the world makes you feel like you're alone and you're spending. You're not. So I'm testament to that. Like we can work this out together. So join the Facebook group. You'll get that link once you take the quiz. So the quiz is free. It'll send you your results. You can join the free Facebook group, and then I do free coaching, free trainings, and then I have my course if you want to go like delve deep into it. But I'm all about serving and helping, because I want to be the person that I wish I would have had 5 years ago with my spending. So I want to save you time. I want to save you money. And I want you to enjoy what you're spending your money on, because we deserve that. We deserve that as women, and we really do. And we can create the life we want when we free up money that don't we don't need to spend unintentionally.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. So Jacqueline asks, so what questions should I ask myself before spending?
Oh, I would say, so it's really tricky to ask yourself when you have the item in your hand. I
Mm,
would say you should be asking yourself before you get in the car. Like I found myself telling my husband, I'm going to go make some returns, but I'm not going to spend anything. And it's like I'm putting myself in the lion's den expecting to come out unscathed. So it's like you need to ask yourself, like, or even, I mean, returns is justified, but it's like I'm going to just go out and go to some malls and go to some stores. Well, that's just like opening yourself up to temptations.
mhm,
Scrolling on your phone, it's like, what, when before you even open Facebook, it's like, am I, or TikTok or whatever, am I going on social media to be social, or am I going on there to like get a dopamine hit, to be advertised to? So just start being mindful of the actions that you do. It's usually in your spare time, when you're bored, when you're emotional, when all those things, your triggers, your emotions are a little raw, and you want to fix it. You want to get rid of that uncomfortable feeling. So when you notice you're jumping on your phone, that's the most common one, because it's easier to jump on your phone than it is to jump in your car.
mhm.
So yeah, just be mindful of the actions you're taking, and say, why am I doing this? What's the purpose? And then if you are needing something, I'm not saying stop spending completely. I'm saying just be mindful that, am I going on with an intended purchase, or is it just I'm going on to be inspired by what to buy? That's hard. That's hard to control.
Mhm.
Well, Evangelist Adams, you have any final words that you want to add before we sign off for this evening?
No, ma'am, it was great.
I'm so
Enjoyed
glad
it.
you were able to join us this evening.
Yeah,
Mm.
thanks for coming. It's awesome that, like, people, you're all of the chats and all of the people here on video, like, you're willing to open up, and that's the first step, is just being open.
Mhm.
Right.
My mission is to try to break down these walls of, like, money is just a taboo topic. Like, we need to talk about it. We need to take away the
Mhm.
shame and
Right.
just be making positive changes. So I congratulate everyone for just making that first step, and
Yes.
keep on pushing through.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well,
Now,
that's
I
what
ain't
we
always been
do.
like this.
Yeah. That's what we do here at the House of Peach. We inspire, encourage, uplift. This is a no
Yes.
judgment zone, no shame.
Mhm.
We're real, we're transparent, and we want to help people. Clearly, that's what we do because of the
Mhm.
connections and the guests that we've had on this past year. Morgan and I just celebrated one whole year together on the show.
Woo!
Yes.
We are doing great things in 2024. So we want everybody to subscribe. Y'all, we've come to the end of another fabulous show. Fabulous. Thank you, Marianne, for being with us today. We
Yes.
appreciate it. I gotta go work on my money, y'all. Hey, they tell you when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The teacher has showed up and classes,
Mhm.
and I am starting off with a bad grade already. So
Oh, no, no, no.
no,
Wait,
I
just
know
be positive. Like,
there's some improvements that I
there's
can
some
make.
improvements.
We all need improvement.
We all need improvements, but think of it, just
Mhm.
before we end, just think of it as like, I want to change because I want this for my life. I want this
Mhm.
spending to be for a trip, to be for things that I've said, oh, that's too expensive. Like, no, it's not.
Right.
You can afford it. So, like, have that in mind, and it'll make it easier
Absolutely.
to swallow.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
it.
have that. There's things that I want to do. I do a lot of traveling already, but I want to be able to just travel at any point and know that I have this nice savings, this Roth IRA that's just flipping, 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 and doing well, and I could just go and be comfortable and come back and do as I please. That's what I
Mhm.
want. I want to be able to go and buy something that I like. Oh, I like that. I want to buy that, and not think, oh my God, what was that? What have I done? What have I done? No, I don't want to do that. Yeah,
I know the trail mix
I
can
do
stay
that,
on the
and I
shelf
wanna
when it
return it.
comes to my trips. So
Say what now?
I said I know the trail mix can stay on the shelf when it comes to my trips.
I'm still mad at you about the trail mix. You could have gotten the trail mix. I'm going to justify the trail mix.
Well, listen, we now have enough trail mix for at least 6 months, so we're good. We're good.
I would have bought the trail mix, and in 2 days, the trail mix would have been gone. And
Yeah.
That's the problem I have. Because see, that's a whole nother episode. Oh my goodness, yes, we're gonna get a whole bunch of mamas up here talk about these stomachs that somehow got created, and I don't understand how, like, in 48 hours can 2 whole bags and 10 mini bags of veggie straws all disappear with just 2 little people. Like,
hey, it happens.
It does.
Time or any like rail thin. Like, how we do that?
Come on, they're boys. What do you expect?
I know.
They're like, their metabolism is off the charts. Their energy's off the chart. I can imagine what Noah does. Up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs, down the stairs, flipping around. He's hungry in like 10 minutes. Like, oh, something. Yeah.
I'm going to ship him to you.
Send them on. Send them to me. Send them.
Which trail mix?
Air mattress. Oh my goodness. All right, Sean, we are so grateful that you joined us. Share this out. I'm going to, because I forgot to, I'm going to be honest. Peach, Smack, I forgot to put the YouTube link on my page, but I will do that tonight. So you can subscribe to House of Peach. I'm like, oh yeah, we weren't supposed to do that. Yeah, I didn't do that.
I'll subscribe.
I promise we'll get it done. Next Tuesday, we will be back right here on this at this time. Tuesday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook on 3 different pages. So make sure you subscribe. Don't miss out on the opportunity to join us. You see, we'll
be talking about meaningful mornings, y'all. So let's be talking about these morning routines, making it meaningful and starting off your day in a better light. So I'm super excited about this.
Sounds good.
I like to hear where she's from.
I like it. I like it. If you know a female entrepreneur that has not been a guest on our show, we want her to join. We want you to be on. We want you to come and share about your business, your organization, what you're doing in your community. We love that. We've connected so many people. We've utilized some of the services ourselves, and there's things that I still want that hypnotist. I still want her. I still want her.
It's on the list.
Yes. I still want to have a session with her. But until next time, we hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Wonderful, wonderful. Marianne, all the way from Utah. So happy to have you. We'll look forward to having you towards the end of the year or another time again. We will bring our guests back at different times. And
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to. Anytime you want me, I'm here.
All right, perfect. We will definitely make that happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you, Evangelist Adams, as well. Thank you. Have a great night, you guys.
Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, what more do you say?